Well, the question you get asked probably the most, how's the tour been going?
The tour is doing great, man. You know, we stayed away from America and Canada, some places more than 10 years, you know, and more than 2006 was the last time we came here to play for Dante. It was the first tour with Gian, you know, our new drummer, and it's kind of crazy, but this time is much better because we have a new album coming up. We have a label, Nuclear Blast, that have the support, the whole strategy. We have a plan, you know, and that's why it took so long for us to come back here, you know, because we didn't have that. You know, SPV, our old label, didn't have the support that we needed from them here, you know. So we didn't want it to come here to be stressful and lose money and without having the other stuff, you know. So now we're just starting a new phase on our life. We have a new album coming up, you know, Kairos, new label. We started the tour in April in Toronto, you know, went all over the country. We're still going back to Canada, up to Vancouver, going to Mexico, and then going to Europe, and then, you know, the year is busy, you know, but the album is coming out in July. So, you know, as soon as the album comes out, we're gonna have the new tour and etc. And then we're gonna come back, you know, with the new tour and everything, and hopefully with a better package and etc. But so far it's good, you know. It's nice to come back and you know, see old friends again, and with a really good expectation about the new stuff. You know, I can feel that people are really excited about, and that's great.
You guys, this particular tour has quite a number of supporting acts.
Yeah.
From Belphegor to Hate to everybody, you know, Neuraxis and a few others. Do you ever get a chance to kind of go out into the crowd and watch any of those openers anymore? Or?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we play in the, you know, like clubs and, you know, House of Blues type of vibe, and it's cool. There's some place that you can actually see the show from a cool point and stuff, and it's okay. You know, there were bands that I really didn't know, you know, before being on tour. Something that the booking agent and even Nuclear Blast were involved, you know, to put a package together, and like I said, you know, it's like a rebuilding everything here. So it's something that for what we have now, it's working, you know, and the bands are really good, you know. They have their own style of metal, let's say, but they're on the same planet, you know.
Now, you've toured almost every single country on the planet. You've been to almost every major city on the planet. Is there a particular country that you find more entertaining to play for, aside from obviously hometown Brazil?
It's a difficult question, man. You know, it's like being on stage is what matters. You know, you have different cultures, different ways of seeing the world, and different ways of dressing and eating, and I mean, from Japan to Indonesia to Cuba to South Africa to, you know, Finland. You know, it's like a whole world, and at the same time we're all the same. We are very different from each other. And metal, it's cool because they're kind of unite people in a certain way. You know, they all dress kind of the same. They have the same idols, you know, black shirts and stuff like that. And but you know, generally the Latin type of crowd, they are more intense, you know, or you know, even the Asians too, or but mainly the Latin, you know, like Mexico, you know, the whole South America, Central America is amazing. So it's just a characteristic of the people, you know. People are very, you know, like popcorn. You know, Brazil's like always jumping around, you know, very musical and stuff. Other places like Japan and stuff are more, you know, they're very polite and very strict and stuff, but they still enjoy it a lot, you know. So it's just different things here and there, but at the same, you know, at the same time, it's just good to be on stage and have that kind of connection with people. It doesn't matter where you are, you know. It's great.
Are you still in contact with Max and Igor at all?
Well, not really, man. I mean, with Max, I just spoke with him last year for the first time after he left the band.
Wow.
We had the chance to play Soulfly and Sepultura in the same festival in Germany.
Wow.
For the first time, all as well. You know, it was like crazy. But you know, I had the chance to meet them. I talked to Gloria and to people that I didn't see for so long and stuff. But and Igor, you know, Igor's doing something else. He's a DJ. You know, besides doing Cavaleira Conspiracy, he's mostly working as a DJ with his wife and traveling the world, playing the drums, but more as a, you know, with the pickups and stuff. And you know, he's still in Brazil. I see his kids a lot. You know, his ex-wife still works with us and stuff. So we have connections, you know. But of course, you know, different lives, different projects and stuff. So we don't talk to each other like we used to.
So you guys are still obviously on good terms. It's not like bad blood or anything.
In my respect, yes, man. I mean,
okay,
I never really had bad blood about anything, you know. Of course, I don't agree with certain attitudes or certain phrases here and there, but I respect them, you know. Everybody has the right to say whatever they want, whatever they think about certain things. But I have no bad blood about nobody, man. It's just something that it's only bad for you, for yourself.
Well, let's move into the new album. This was the first time, and it's Kairos.
Yeah, I mean, those names are like, you know, Alex, you know, Dante or Sepultura. You know, Kairos is I say it Kairos, you know,
okay,
but it's a Greek word.
Yep.
And they say Kairos.
Okay.
But I like the Kairos effect better.
Kairos. Now, on Kairos, the upcoming album, this was the first time that you guys had worked with legendary producer Roy Z. How did that come about?
We wanted somebody new to work with us, somebody from outside Brazil, because the last two albums we did everything ourselves pretty much. With Stanley Soares, which was the engineering, which is our, you know, PA front of house guy and stuff. But we wanted somebody from outside, and Roy, it's a guy that we know for a while. You know, he been down to Brazil a lot. He has a Brazilian girlfriend, and he can speak a little bit the language. He played in Brazil many times with different acts, and he produced a Brazilian band also. So he knows the environment, you know, and he's a young guy like ourselves, you know, like the same type of age, and he's not only a producer, a studio producer. He is that, but he also a very active live musician. You know, he is on stage actually working and traveling with Rob Halford, with his Latino type of project that he have, and he's, you know, he had the best of both worlds. You know, most of the producer are like, you know, let's say, with all the respect, like, you know, frustrated musicians. Let's say, you know, they play some here and there, but they're very technical and stuff, you know. Of course, that's the, you know, mostly they are like that, but it's cool to have Roy like that. He have the whole knowledge of the studio and the whole live feeling of it. You know, he's a great guitar player, great musician, very sensitive, you know, in details and stuff, and was a perfect, you know, choice for us, you know. And because he had this best of both worlds, you know, Sepultura always wanted to reproduce Sepultura live on stage to the studio, you know, bring that to the studio. And he was very helpful on that, you know, to try to achieve that. It's very difficult, you know, it's a whole different environment stuff, but we are very happy with the result, you know. It sounds very alive, you know. It's really powerful, you know, very happy.
The last two albums, Dante and Alex, were more conceptual albums. Is this one more conceptual, or?
Yeah, in a sense, yeah. I mean, it's an album inspired by ourselves, you know, the whole career of Sepultura. We talk about ourselves, you know, we have lyrics talking about our family, our experience on stage, our experiencing traveling the world, being away from our families. You know, we talk about the relationship we have with the press, with the record labels, with managers, with fans. You know, it's very intimate album. It's almost like as if we have like a Sepultura biography in our hands, and we are reading that and writing for that. You know, it's the whole like celebrating of 25 years of a career, which is very special. You know, for a band to be like that. We never really stopped. You know, during this time, and I think brought a lot of great feelings, you know, of this, you balance your whole life, you know. It's like the story you see the movie, you know, about ourselves, and you remember things, you remember where we come from, you know, how hard it was to achieve certain things, and the privilege we have to be here still, you know, 2011, after so many changes inside, especially outside the band, you know, vinyl to CD, CD to download, and mobiles, computers, and fast information, and we're still here, So I guess everything, that kind of feeling, it's there on Kairos. I mean, living the present as much as we can without being slaves of our past. We respect our past; it's part of what we are, but we are here today. We cannot go back.
We had mentioned with Nuclear Blast, you guys have been with them for almost a year now. Are you glad that you made the change?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, we were kind of forced to make that change because SPV was bankrupt. They changed the whole personnel. They were running by different people and different situations, so we were very, lost there. Well, what to do? We have a contract with them, which we still honor. They still have our back catalog. They still gonna promote that and work that. But at the same time, we have the freedom to go and find a new home. And we were so glad and happy and lucky, to have Nuclear Blast with us. They are a label. They are there forever. They are metalheads like ourselves. They love what they do. They know the music. They know the fans. They know the structure. They know how to work this. It's great. We're very, very pleased. That we have this label with us right now. It's perfect.
Now, rumor has it you guys have been recording footage during shows on this particular tour for an upcoming DVD. Is there any truth to that?
Well, it's a little more than that. Actually, we've been filming everything since last year when we start writing, the album. We are doing a documentary about Sepultura. Talking about that, what I just said. The momentum of Sepultura, talking about our history and why we're here. And it's gonna be. The plan is to have like a movie, really, talking about ourselves, and we've been filming everything from last August, like writing process, the practice, going to the studio, recording. The director was here. He's from Brazil, but he was here from the first 2 weeks of touring, collecting images and stuff, and doing interviews and etc. So there's still a lot to do,
So it's a lot more in depth as opposed
yes,
to just a concert
a lot more,
DVD.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
To go out. Well, piracy is there everywhere, not only music. It just reflects the monopoly of certain things.
Yeah.
And the price, stupid price that no sense. How come you pay like fucking, I don't know, 30, 40 bucks, 50 bucks in a fucking CD or something? Some places, it's crazy. So it collapsed, and I think it's healthy. Music's not gonna end because of that. Labels will end, not music. And now labels are trying to be managers because they don't sell anymore. It doesn't matter how big you are, you don't sell more albums. Everybody's on the road, from U2 to Paul McCartney to Shakira to fucking Dead Kennedys. Everybody's there. Nobody's there waiting, for the fucking money to come from your bank, let's say, which was the label. The label was only a bank. They invest some money and you'll be in slaves there forever, pretty much. So I guess it's more healthy. It's you have more freedom to express your own things. You have more freedom to control a little more your own career and stuff. But we're still in a transition phase. There's nothing really too much set. There's a lot of possibilities. You hear vinyl come back and whatever. It's like still kind of weird, but at the same time you see like music is growing. You see U2 making the biggest tour ever, in the history of music, now today, besides all the crises and etc. So I mean, music has to be there. The stage is the sacred place for music, which is where it's really alive and present.
The cover art on the new album is a little dark, a little spooky. Who conceived it?
It's metal. No, I'm viewed from the camera. The special effects. Well, it's like a concept that basically me and Derek came about together with Eric, the artist. Talking about the concept, Kairos is not a concept of time, which is chronological. You know, it's just like the moment of opportunity and stuff. And just talk about ideas, and I talked about like a gel, you know, skull that have like a different expression, and the, you know, the clock and etc. But Eric came and brought a lot of different options of directions that we could go, you know, and he did an amazing job, you know, and very happy also with that.
Okay. One more question. A lot of the songs on the new album have 4-digit numbers.
Yeah.
What's the significance or meaning behind those ones?
Well, they're like interludes. They're not actually music, you know. They're just like sounds from the streets and different situations, you know. And the numbers represent all the different calendars today, you know, like Christian is like 2011, and the Hebrew is 5,700 something, and then the Chinese and the Islamic, you know, everybody living at the same time but with different idea of time, you know. So it fits a little bit of the concept, you know, what time really is, you know. It's very relative. Like Einstein said, you know, it's like there's no really definition of time, you know. And Kairos, I think it's the closest to what time should be, you know. How can you count 1 to 2, you know, seconds if you don't know what 1 or 2 is, you know? It's like, how can you measure, you know, that if you don't have like definitions, you know? So it comes from all the concept, you know. So a lot of people have a different idea where we are in time, you know.
All right. Well, the new album drops in about June, about a month or so. So we definitely look forward to getting it. And
great, man.
Absolutely, thank you for your time.
Thank you, and we'll be back soon with the new tour.
Sounds good.
Valeu.